John asked me to step up to the plate and produce something interesting for you guys while he's away on his honeymoon. Hopefully John is having a perfectly good time, if you guys know what I mean. You know, we're all adults here, and I can only say, without any certain doubt in my mind, that John is definitely having one of the best times of his life. So congratulations, John, on your honeymoon, and let's dig on into this discussion, shall we? Alright, we're going to be talking about 5 cards that should probably stay banned in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! For better or for worse reasons. So, first one we're going to start with is Chaos Emperor Dragon without an errata. Now, for the most of you guys that understand that this card has an errata at this point, and the card will probably return off of the list, but until that time happens, Yu-Gi-Oh! Is going to keep this card locked up far away from any of us. Because if you haven't noticed, being able to do other things in the same turn that you do Chaos Emperor Dragon seems pretty ridiculous. But why this card over other cards? So the thing that I find particularly interesting about this card in general is being able to just pay 1,000 at any stage in the game. You would used to use this with Sangan if you hadn't previously summoned, like turn 2, you would kill the Sangan with the Chaos Emperor Dragon, search for the Yata-Garasu, normal summon the Yata, you would lock your opponent. It was a combo card back in the day. So the card's value's kind of gone down, but had you had a way to use it pre-errata, you might have been able to do something. Now, Konami America has definitely shown that we do not like card effects that are generally more than usable. I mean, I think, Japan's got the card of 3 now, they've often released other stuff. Being able to board wipe your opponent's entire hand in field isn't something that we kind of like to have be a fair game state for a lot of players. I think it's a little bit more broken. I'm kind of letting it up to be, or a little bit more fair than it actually needs to be. But understand, for the most part, Chaos Emperor Dragon, I think, pre-errata, needs to just stay as fucking far away from the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! As it can. It can just stay over in its corner. I don't want to see it anytime soon coming back. Just because I don't need that 1/1000th of a chance that my opponent gets the ability to sack me. I'm not in the mood for that shit. And I'm sure a lot of other players aren't in the mood for that particular stage to happen to them either. Now the next one, this is going to be contrary to popular belief. I think Royal Oppression needs to also stay out of the game as well. Now, Royal Oppression was fine back in the day when you had to actually flip it face up as a trap card before using its effect. And then after a little bit of time, they eventually changed the way the card worked, but you'd be able to flip it and activate it on the same chain, which inherently started causing problems. And after a while, meta players started to realize, oh hey, I can include this in my already main deck. So I go first. A good example of this was Teledad, actually. Teledad, you would sit on this rather large Dark Arm Dragon with a Royal Oppression backing it up. Now, something tells me producing large boss monsters while your opponent is just staring at that threat, trying to deal with it, and then you've got a Royal Oppression that you can pay 6,000 to 7,000 life points for to just potentially grind out everything that your opponent can do. Did I mention that this is a continuous trap card whose cost is only 800? The possibility of erratating it to once per turn comes to my mind as the possibility to bring the card back later in its lifespan, but I don't think that's going to be the best way to go about it. I think the fact that it's a trap card, it's continuous, and you can flip it right off the bat when your opponent attempts to do anything, and it encompasses all types of summons. Summons from card effects, the inherent summons, link summoning, Xyz summoning, synchro summoning. It hits everything. So a card as powerful as that with such a inherently devastating effect, unfortunately, it's cool in traditional format where you can try to balance out everything in its own right for being broken. And I mean, if you open it up, sure, you just stunt the opponent or the advance of your opponent's turn. But in the advanced format, we can't have this card returning ever again. I think the card is just too damn broken for its own good, honestly. Now the next one is our boy Substoad. And I've been thinking about this one for a while. So, Substitute does not have that beautiful once per turn clause on it. This is before that time. So, the big thing that made Substitute get locked up in the first place was the fact that you could bring out Substitute, normal summon it with Mass Driver. You'd be able to effectively banish or bring out 20 frogs, use Ronin Totem X times with Mass Driver and ping your opponent. But this is the direct result of that not once per turn clause that we have come to so know and love in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! So what do we need to do for Substitute here? Put the once per turn clause on it, and then he can walk free. I think even bringing the card back at 1 causes problems, because 1 for 1 still exists in the current game, which kind of causes inherent degeneracy in its own. But if it even comes... It's one of those... Sure, you can cheese your opponent dumping 20 frogs, Cannon Soldier, Toon Cannon Soldier still exist, so you can still do some sort of like soft loop, Fishborg Blaster still banned. But at the end of the day, I don't like the fact that my opponent can clear 20 cards out of their deck with just 2 monsters. How is that inherently fair? You know, loading up your entire graveyard, being able to draw better cards from your deck. I mean, hell, at the stage that you're probably substituting, you're probably down to 15 cards in your deck because you draw your 5, depending on what monsters you open. I mean, 16, 17 cards with potential draw power. Like, how is that fair? I ask you, as a player. It doesn't seem like some shit I want to be dealing with. I'm sure none of you guys want to be as well. So, until Substitute gets an errata, this card can just, once again, stay as far away from the TCG as we can. If I want to play something degenerate with the card, I'll go play traditional format. I'm sure, as will a lot of other players. So, just something to consider. Next up on the list here is actually Fiber Jar. Now, you guys are probably like, a flip effect monster that potentially restarts the game. Why do we care about that? So, first thing I want to point out here is, first off, being able to restart the game is dumb as hell. I don't think it's inherently fair at all. And by restarting the game, I mean it just soft resets things. Let's be real here. A flip effect that just forces you to reshuffle things is... it doesn't seem that great, but flip effects, your opponent has to engage with it. If we ever got into more of a battleized format, then your opponent just takes advantage of the situation and just... It's like, okay, I'll attack that main phase 2, I get my whole hand back, and I can re-combo you. It's an end-of-match procedure error that would, like... it would wreck me as a player. Because it's like, cool, I can reset the game now. Cool, I can take another 7 to 10 minutes to reset up my board. Do we need that in competitive Yu? We already have enough time issues to deal with here that it's become a headache. And I think Fiber Jar would just contribute to that madness all on a whole nother layer. Now imagine your opponent mind controlling your Fiber Jar, just staring at you going, that's really cute. Thank you for that. I really needed that jar. So, I don't know. I think the card is degenerate. I think, once again, this is another card that, just for the sake of the game of Yu-Gi-Oh!, I want it to stay out just because of what it does for the game. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm indifferent because it's like resetting is fine and in its own right, but it's also like, well, fuck. Maybe making your opponent just try to make their combo again seems fair. I don't know. I think the card just needs to stay out because fuck you, Fiber Jar. And the last one I want to see stay banned is Delinquent. Now this one I've talked about coming back before in previous videos, and I feel a little... Card's only good going first. Let's be real here. So if I go first, I do Delinquent Duo my opponent. They're on 4 resources when they draw for turn. That's awesome. We have Gumblar Dragon. He exists. But what kind of makes the card more fair is going turn 2, turn 3, turn 4, when your opponent doesn't really have that very large resource pool. So being able to... Honestly, the way the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is gone right now, it's build your board, pass. Your opponent breaks your board, you're probably going to lose. Well, having a card that I can side deck in for going first to try to stun the advancement of my opponent's play when I'm a 2-card combo deck, how is that fucking fair? I ask you, as a fellow player, I think this card would probably see immense side deck play just because of how powerful it is. You know, combining it with Gumblar Dragon for the full nuke out of the opponent's hand. absolutely going to be a bad day for somebody out there. So for the mainstream of things, we need to just, once again, keep Delinquent out of the game. I don't want to create a potentially powerful side deck card that a lot of players are going to look to for massive degeneracy, because the card's already broken as it is. So just my 2 cents there. These are probably the 5 most ridiculous cards. I was thinking about it for a little while. I was like, I wonder what we can talk about here. But for now, these 5 are going to be the ones that I think need to stay out of the game, just for my own calm well-being, for what it's worth. So guys, please leave a comment down below. Remember to wish John a happy anniversary, and come on over to the Uncle 40 Palace, where video quality has been severely improving. At least I think so. Alright guys, peace out. The ride never ends, guys. Make sure you enable those notifications to get the latest videos that are being posted on this channel. Make sure you guys check out VanCole40 for my Cardfight Vanguard channel. And join me and House of Champions on the Zodiac Duelist TV Twitch stream. We'll be interacting with our audiences. And please check out No Limit Gaming and LGTCG.com for the cheapest trading cards on the market. Thanks for watching, guys, and please have a good day.